Welcome back. Welcome back to the Kovacs Report. It's one of my favorite times of the month because the previews catalogs are dropping. The first one to hit is the Marvel previews. Yes, this is the March solicitations, which means all the books in here should be available this May 2026. So I'm going to go through the whole catalog. I'm going to highlight what's on my pull list, what's fallen off my pull list, and why. And also, we're going to highlight what's new, some brand new stuff coming from Marvel. They've got a lot going on. You'll see that if you're on the internet. So many events, so many new things. So Al Ewing and Iban Coelho are going to debut Queen in Black, which follows on from the Null miniseries that's currently running. Hell on Earth, indeed. We will talk about that as we get into the book, wherever it may lie. Now, we've got an advert here for The Spectacular Spider-Man Brand New Day, a new miniseries by Dan Slott, Marcus Toe, Marcus Martin. And again, I'm assuming that's going to be somewhere else in a book. So we will reserve our thoughts on this until we get there. So Queen in Black is going to get, of course, a blind bag. They're not going to miss an opportunity to make money, are they? No. But they've learned their lesson, actually, from the blind bags, because with the Daredevil blind bag, which is yet to actually come out, they put all of the covers in the blind bags, even the regular covers, which meant if you wanted a regular cover, you had to like roll the dice or hope that your comic shop had opened a few bags up and was selling them. So you could only get the exclusive covers inside these blind bags. If you want to pick up the regular covers, they should be freely available. So I have made a video about Queen in Black. It was announced today, the day I made this video too. And you will get my thoughts over on the channel somewhere on another video entitled Queen in Black Announced. Hell on Earth, literally. Yes, it really is. It gets a bit steamy at the end. I think I let some of my emotions come out in that video, but it explains why I'm so sick of these events. Anyway, this is leading in, or rather from Null, a current miniseries that's rolling out from Al Ewing, who seems to be the symbiote god of the Marvel offices right now. Now, Null was the King in Black, a quite successful big event many years ago from Marvel, actually. So they've switched it on its head and they've made the Queen in Black as Hela of Asgard is now the Queen in Black. And Null, well, Null's not the god of the dark anymore. No, he has gone to the light, which you will find out very, very soon. Now, I should really remind you guys, this is going to be full of spoilers. Marvel is absolutely notorious for announcing a series, and before the first issue of that series is even published, they show you the final issue and the next event, which explains the entire thing before it's come out. So beware, there may be some mines in this catalogue, so watch out. Gone are the days where you get the censored or redacted blackout parts in these catalogs. They just don't do it anymore. Anyway, Al Ewing, Iban Coelho, Hell on Earth. On the farthest edges of the solar system, Null, god of the void, builds a brand new army to destroy Earth. But Hela of Asgard might have gotten there first, as she makes planetfall with a legion of the galaxy's deadliest symbiotes. Of course, two of the most powerful evils in the galaxy are at war, and the son of Venom is caught right in the middle. I guess that's Dylan Brock. Writer Al Ewing and Iban Coelho, the team behind Venom War, bring you a cosmic collision of evil versus evil with the good caught in the middle. So there we go. There we go. So I'm reading Null. I can talk about the first two issues because they've come out, and I have given you the spoiler warning. So basically, Null's been used as the battery. Hela, well, she's basically pulled out all of his dark black energy, and she's made herself the Queen in Black and sent him off on his merry way, all under her sort of puppet strings. And he's gone off to this distant, barren planet where there's a horde of these terrible creatures there, and there is also the corpse of his greatest foe, the I guess the god of light. Now, he has a big bloody sword, as you know, good old Null, right? And that is the darkness weapon, right? And the god of light has a spear, the light spear, which is the antithesis, the opposite equal. And they clashed and they fought for a very long time, and they both pierced each other at the same time, and they fell to the ground, and Null lay there for a century or so. So this weapon is what he is seeking to try and take on the Queen in Black, because it's the only real thing that's going to be able to take her down. So he's gone from the darkness, he's turned to the light to regain the dark, I guess, or harness both of them. Who knows? But there's another player, okay, who steps into the ring near the end of issue number 2. And do you want to find out who that is? Watch my review or pick up the book. I don't want to spoil that part. Moving on. We've got some interior art from Queen in Black. It looks as you would expect. We've got a lovely cover. I guess this is a cover. Are these covers? Or this is just double pages that we're going to see in it. It looks really cool. Hela on her throne, looking a badass. Okay, so this is some interior art. So it does look very nice, I've got to admit. It does look very, very nice. Looks like we've got symbiotes here, armed with weapons. Also, they've got that whole, not Centurions. What are they called? It's not Shi'ar. You know who I mean. The cosmic dudes with the Mohawk helmets. Very, very strange. Maybe they've symbiotically taken them over, or maybe they just have their own helmets now because they're an army. Very Roman Empire-esque. Looks like one of his weapons is being forced to malfunction by some kind of magic here and explodes in his face. This poor civilian, probably Aunt May, falls to the ground. So would I. Looks terrifying, but the art does look good. It does look good indeed. However, this isn't interior art from Queen in Black. This is from the Amazing Spider-Man 1000/Queen in Black #1, right? Comic book event, which is replacing the Free Comic Book Day, which has actually now come back. Because if you didn't know, Free Comic Book Day was part of Diamond, if I remember correctly, or somebody who's gone bankrupt. So it's up in the air about whether or not Free Comic Book Day would even happen this year. So instead of that happening, I think Marvel, DC, and a few other publishers, they've come together with the CGD Day. Yes, we won't go into that. I made a whole video about it, and they brought out all these books that will be free on the day. But then, rising from the ashes like a phoenix, like Jean Grey, Free Comic Book Day has been purchased by someone else, and they are releasing lots of free comic books. So we get 2 Free Comic Book Days. So it worked out for us, guys, didn't it? Okay, we've got some character designs by Ryan Stegman and R.B. Silver. As you can see here, she's got a pretty cool costume. I'm looking forward to that. But that's not the exciting part. The exciting part is Mary Jane here. Yes, Mary Jane becomes her own independent woman, realizing her own true self in Venom because she splits from him in some kind of way, I think, but still retains a symbiotic suit. And this is the new design. So big spoiler alert there for the Death Spiral event that's about to unravel. Again, I've made a video about it. Made 2 videos about it, I think. Mary Jane retains the Venom, which means there is no hope for this character now. One of the worst ideas in Marvel history, making Mary Jane jackpot. I thought they couldn't get any worse, and they did. Al Ewing came along and say, hey, wouldn't it be a cool idea to make Mary Jane Venom? Taking one of the most notorious, one of the most scariest, darkest villains and turning him into a panda bear, basically. Oh my God, what have they done? What have they done? Anyway, we've got a variant cover here by Iman Coelho. Very, very cool, showing that Null has harnessed both the light and the dark here. So it does look cool, but he doesn't have the spear, I've noticed. But he is in the light. Very interesting. He does have his good old faithful sword, which is pretty damn cool. Now, Armageddon has just been announced, but they've announced it as Avengers Armageddon. Yes, this is the big one, the mega event on top of all the other events that Marvel are putting out this year, or rather that they've already announced, because we're not even, 3 months into the year, and we've got 3 or 4 events, so there's bound to be a few more. But this one does sound promising. I've got to be positive about it, because I got excited for once. I think this assembled Armageddon Avenger team is going to change a lot of the things that are stale at Marvel, or at least I really, really hope so. Again, I've explained it more in my other video, but there is a prequel leading to it. Captain America's book is covering some of that lead up, and also Wolverine Weapons of Armageddon is also doing. Now, issue number 1 of Armageddon, Wolverine Weapons of Armageddon rather, and Captain America 7 just came out. And honestly, that Captain America issue was on the best Captain America books I've read in a very long time. It is indeed Chip Zdarsky's best issue so far. It was a 10 out of 10, or a 9.9999 recurring good book. I loved it. It's really, really, really getting into the mix now with this Captain America, this new Captain America that we have. Because if you know, it's kind of a sort of they've rewritten history a little bit for this Cap. Again, I don't want to give too many spoilers away, other than the ones that are already given away. But pick the book up. It's really good. First arc, you'll go, okay, this is pretty good. But as you get into that second arc, you're going to get excited. So Weapons of Wolverine, Weapons of Wolverine, Weapons of Armageddon. This is also leading into this huge Avengers event, which Marvel claims is going to redefine the Avengers and, of course, redefine the Marvel Universe. And actually, it's pretty good. It is revisiting an old trope, but it's been repackaged by Chip Zdarsky. And it sounds very interesting. And I can't read this solicit because this is issue 4 of 4, and issue 1's just come out. But what I can tell you is the cover gives some things away, but things that you kind of already knew going into the book anyway, or you're going to pick up from issue number 1. Of course, you can check my video out and pick the book up. But Nuke's in there, of course. The Origin boxes, those pesky Origin boxes, which are central to this massive event, bridging 616 and 610 universes together and basically creating whatever's going to happen next, or for the foreseeable future at least. So those Origin boxes are in there. Nuke's in there, Wolvie's in there, and we've got a new mutant with healing abilities who also has claws. Again, trying not to give too much away, but there he is on the cover. So we kind of know everything that's in that cover from the first issue anyway, so not much of a spoiler. But Chip Zdarsky, Luca Maresca are the creative team. And on Captain America, we've got Chip Zdarsky, Vado Scitti, by the time we get to issue 11. But honestly, check out issue number 7 of Captain America. The story is great and the art is absolutely delicious. That's all I can say about it. It's stunning. Now, Spectacular Spider-Man returns, no doubt and no less, with Brand New Day. What could be worse? What could be worse is maybe they bring back Dan Slott to write some of it. So let's see who's writing this book. It's Dan Slott. Well, he's brought Marcus Toe and Marcos Martin alongside with him. Yes, I know, Brand New Day, very controversial. I hated it. Of course, I'm just one of those guys, you know me by now. So they're bringing it back, but not bringing it back. What they're doing is they're doing this little 5-issue miniseries, right? Where there's stories that weren't told during that era. Okay, now that in itself, if you separate it, let's give it a chance. It could be really interesting. And in fact, because I've already made a video on it, I know it sounds interesting. I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know. It's got a silly premise, but it's got an interesting mix of characters. So let's see. Let's see. As we go through the pages of variant covers listed, we get Spectacular Brand New Day. Revisit one of the most transformative periods of Spider-Man history, and I'll give it that. It definitely was transformative. We are still living with the repercussions from it. One of the most transformative periods of Spider-Man history, with some of the creators who made it happen, indeed. Dan Slott. Now, if you think, why are you hitting on Dan Slott like that? Well, go look it up and you'll find out why. Some of it, I understand why he was the way he was, but some of it is just downright unprofessional the way he was. But he's, you know, he is who he is. Spider-Man discovers one of the most valuable items in the Kingpin, a.k.a. Wilson Fisk's possession, the lexicon, the directory of the Kingpin's criminal enterprise, which could destroy the criminal landscape of New York City. And that's Spider-Man's goal when he takes it. So he's basically stolen Wilson Fisk's little black book. It isn't a little black book. It's a big black book with an Illuminati triangle pyramid eye right in the middle. Why not keep it on a disc somewhere, right? Okay, why not put it on a thumb drive? I don't know. We've got this big book he's lumbering around, which is the same kind of thing he did in Spider-Man Torn. There must be a sort of a new trope going around. Anyway, he steals this book because he wants to take down the criminals of New York City. Now, Fisk isn't the only person who wants the lexicon, because Mr. Negative would love his competitor's secret information, but so would Frank Castle, a.k.a. the Punisher. Of course, that would be Christmas Day for Frank. He'd love that. Now, taking the lexicon sure seemed like a good idea to make the city safer, but it painted the biggest target ever on Spider-Man's back. Ooh. Do not, and block capitals, do not miss this in continuity adventure that will echo from Spider-Man's past into Spider-Man's present and future. These stories are just some little extra bonus stories from the Brand New Day era. They're stories that are going to resonate in current day storytelling. So it's essential reading. Let's just hope Dan Slott could put it off. Let's hope that it's a good story. That's all we want. Now, Ryan North, he's got his own office at Marvel. It's called the Doom Office because he just seems to be the man who writes Doom right now. Of course, there's a movie coming out with Doom in it, so we're going to get tons of Doom. And that's not bad if Doom is written well. But he has kind of been reduced to a very one-dimensional character right now, especially in Ryan North's One World Under Doom, which you might not remember because no one else does. So Ryan North is teaming up with Francesco Mobili to do Doom Quest #1, a 5-issue miniseries. $6 a pop, I'll have you know. Cool logo, beautiful Alex Ross cover here, and there's some homage covers, as you can see on the left-hand page. So what's it all about? Well, it's not a current story because, you know, Doom is MIA at the moment. Latveria is basically on fire. But this is a story from the past. So let's see what it says. Now, knowing it's Ryan North, I'm going to assume there's going to be time travel involved. I'm going to assume maybe a dinosaur is involved and potentially an alternate Earth. That seems to be the only 3 stories that Ryan North could tell at the moment. Let's figure it out. So the days of Doom. Dr. Victor Von Doom, so we are going back quite a way by the sounds of it, is a great scientist, an unparalleled sorcerer, and the ruler of his own nation. He is, by any measure, a great man, and yet Doom wants more. Yes, he certainly does. And when Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, his greatest enemy and eternal rival, is showcased at a prestigious international event to which Doom wasn't even invited, Doom is outraged because he's one-dimensional now. Now, Reed Richards shares his plan for his eventful retirement project, the total optimization of history. He intends to go back in time to all the eras humanity wasted on war and conflict and fix them, saving trillions of lives and ensuring humanity can achieve its greatest and final glory. So I know this is a story from the past days. Maybe Reed hasn't learnt the one big factoid which he keeps spouting out every time we get a time travel story, which is all the time, is that you don't mess with the past because it has repercussions on the present, right? God damn it. Here we go. The idea of Reed rewriting history in his own image is, of course, antithetical to Doom, and so he decides to do it before Reed does. But when the Fantastic Four intervene, Doom finds himself in a battle he never intended across all of time and space. So we got 2 out of 3 here. If they mention dinosaurs. Now, Doom Quest is an evergreen Doom story. The perfect introduction. We've got a bit of a blocked nose. Introduction and exploration of his character. This fun and adventurous miniseries takes readers into the heart of Victor Von Doom, across the depths of time and space, and into action-packed battles you can't see anywhere else and beyond. Well, there you have it. Of course, I'm going to review it. It's a Dr. Doom book, but it's Ryan North. Okay, I'm going to get it in the comments. Now, interior art from Armageddon / X-Men #1. This is part of the CGD 2026 free book, comic book day. The art looks kind of cool. We got a cracking cover here from Nick Klein, who just has a god hand when it comes to drawing the Hulk book. Pretty impressive, man. Yeah, look at that. Oh, it looks good. Oh, it looks good. I can't say much more. So the Ultimate Universe continues, is being milked slightly. Now, with all these huge announcements at the moment with the Avengers Armageddon book, which, check out my video. There's a lot of pimping my other videos today, right? Okay. I always wondered how we got to it, because we've got Weapons of Wolverine, as I like to call it, and Captain America. But an integral part of the story was these origin boxes, which Miles Morales brought back from the 6160 Ultimate Universe. And I think, well, how are these getting into hands of all these bad people? Because as you are reading some of these books, you'll notice that some of the bad guys have these boxes that Miles Morales was tasked of actually protecting and looking after. So I'm guessing that this mini-series is that story of how he loses them and how they create new characters for the 616 universe, which are bastardizations, I guess, of the Ultimate and mainline universe. This will definitely play into everything that's going on in Chip Zdarsky's run. So let's see. It's Chris Condon, which doesn't inspire me with a lot of faith, but it's Stefano Caselli on the art, so I know it's going to look pretty. Variant covers galore. Some interior pages there, which look nice enough. I know they're small on screen. Check them out online. The art does look very, very tasty. As I said, Miles Morales, well, I knew he'd be back. His run by Cody Ziegler has ended. No doubt it will return after the events of this book, or the Avengers Armageddon book, but we need a bit of explanation of what happened to these boxes. Let's see what it says. Miles Morales returned from the Ultimate Universe with a plan: safeguard the origin box, which he's not done very good job of, let's be honest. And he is a kid. Iron Man, Captain America, S.H.I.E.L.D., the American government, I don't know, the Avengers, Doctor Strange, anyone you can think of. Why does a teenager look after these world-shattering potential boxes? Anyway, there are catalysts for the creation of new superheroes, but not just superheroes. They can actually remove powers. They may even create villains, because some of these boxes are tainted, damaged. There's something not quite right about some of these boxes, which is why some of them weren't used. Now, before they fall into the wrong hands, Miles Morales has got a lot of work to do. But anyway, the secret is out as Miles battles over the boxes, engulfs the entire Marvel U. This May, Chris Condon and Stefano Caselli team up to create stunning and unforgettable new characters on both sides of a conflict that will shape the future of the 616. Okay. So that is going to shape the future of the 616 because we're getting Armageddon. So that makes sense. Now, who are these new characters? Can Chris Condon pull it off? Can Stefano Caselli put it off? Let's see who these guys are going to look like. I'm very interested to see what kind of characters they create. We got a sort of hint in the background there of two of them. I think the one on the right is giving me Wonder Man vibes. I'm not sure because, well, there he is. Maybe is that Wonder Man? I think that might be Wonder Man because these powers are the Iron Lad create these boxes to grant powers of existing heroes, right? So. And villains, I reckon there's some villain ones there. So I'm assuming that they have to be versions of existing characters, right? And this would make sense. This would make sense because there's a red W in his sawn off hoodie there. Okay, well, it's definite read for me. Now, The Amazing Spider-Man Spider-Verse number 2 hits in May. And you definitely know my thoughts if you watch my other videos. Ridiculous premise. Norman Osborn, yes, the Norman Osborn, the former Green Goblin, arch enemy of Peter Parker's Spider-Man, has been a good guy recent times. He's actually taken over the mantle of Spider-Man while Spider-Man was in space doing his Guardians of the Galaxy thing, right? Now, what is he doing in this book? Well, you guessed it. He's going to become a mentor. Yes, a mentor. He is going to train. He's going to look after the Spider Kids because apparently he believes they're not ready for what's coming. He's going to have the aid of Spider-Woman here, okay, and they're going to start their own school for spiders. Yes, it is as ridiculous as it sounds, but it is coming out of Joe Kelly's mind. And he's writing the current Amazing Spider-Man book, which, as you know, it's not very good. So he's teaming up with Jordan Morris for the writing. Perry Perez is doing the art. This issue is called Survival 101. And hold on a minute. Norman looks like he's going back to his old tricks. Is that a goblin guider I see? Yes. Is that a maniacal grin I see? Is that some pumpkin bombs I see? Are they reverting him back to being the bad guy that he should be? Because he should never be a good guy. He should never be forgiven and hugged. Hugged? Yes, that's canon. He was hugged by Peter Parker. They're bros now. I don't get it. But let's see what this issue's about. I don't care if we read ahead of this because we know where it's going. The former Green Goblin trains the spider heroes. But is Norman slipping back into his old devious ways? It looks like it. While Miles, Gwen, and the other students battle through Professor Osborn's School of Hard Knocks. Professor. He got a degree between the panels. Another terrifying threat rises. Of course it does. One that none of the spiders are prepared to face. There we go. Lucky it's 5 issues. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so Marvel are doing what they normally do. They're a company. They need to celebrate these benchmarks, okay? And it has been 20 years since Civil War. In fact, way back 20 years ago, I think I probably would have been standing in my comic book store right now, clearing up the mess from Comic Book Day, because I used to own a number of comic stores way, way back alongside doing my day job. Now, I know I had a lot of jobs. So Civil War is back. Now, why is Civil War back? Well, of course, the nostalgia of it. It's going to sell books. People might be interested in stories back from those days. I mean, it was a really interesting time for stories from Marvel. I remember Marvel selling through the roof when Civil War came out. Okay, people really loved it in my comic book store. But there's another reason why they do it. Okay, sit back. This is why they do it. If you notice, a lot of the stories, let's not talk about Avengers Armageddon, okay? Because that hasn't come out yet. But up at this point, last few years, a lot of stories are set in the future. They're set in the past. And that's because they don't need to become canon, okay? It means that the current writers don't need to worry about it because by the time you get to the last issue of this in the future, in the past story, everything goes back to normal. The norm doesn't change, which is part of Marvel's problem because their norm never changes, right? And that is why they keep reverting back to these books because it doesn't change anything right now. It means they don't need to move forward. They don't need to take any accountability for the growth of their characters. Now, Chip Zdarsky, I think he's come on board and say, hey, boys, right? In all the various offices, X-Men office, Spider-Man office, all the other offices. Listen, we need to do something here because we are in the shit, okay? Okay? We can't put out Absolute Spider-Man. All right, they've already done that with Batman and Wonder Woman and everyone else. All right, we've just killed off the cash cow Ultimates. All right, we need to start thinking outside the origin boxes, and that's exactly what's happening now. I hope is Marvel's gone, right, time to shift the status quo. Let's make stuff that's permanent. Let's set ourselves up for writing stories that maybe matter, or stories that are actually going to affect what happens next in the Marvel Universe over the next few years. So there we go. There's my little 101. So Civil War Unmasked. Christos Gage and Edgar Salazar are going to do a 5-issue miniseries, basically, I think, telling stories from the good old Civil War days. So it says, whose side are you on now? Which is a play on the fact of whose side are you on, was a kind of a catchphrase of the Civil War series. And Iron Man, good old Steve and Tony here, clash like they're clashing here, you know. Whose side were you on? I don't know. I loved Iron Man, but we all knew Cap was right. Anyway, let's get back to this. Revisit the event that unleashed shockwaves across the Marvel Universe. In this 5-issue miniseries, follow the unseen stories of Iron Man, Spider-Man, Goliath, Tigra, and Captain America before, during, and after the events of Civil War. What have we got? An urgent mission from Bishop takes Tony Stark into the days of future past. Not only are they going back in the past, they're going back in the past, or the future, depending on how you look at it. But it's exactly what I said, right? Because these stories don't have any permanence. So Tony Stark is going back into the days of future past, where the revelation of the apocalyptic future changed everything Tony thought he knew about the consequences of the Superhuman Registration Act. Does it make him think maybe I should have done that? Who knows? Written by all-star Christos Gage, drawn by Edgar Salazar, and coloured by returning colourist Maury Hollowell. You won't want to miss this special anniversary series, 2 decades in the making. There we go. Fantastic Four 11. Yes, this is falling off my pull list very, very sharply. However, by the looks of those 2 words there, my prediction has come true. Not that it was a hard prediction to make. Let's just jump in. Ryan North and Stan Sakai. Okay, with art by Pat Butin and Stan Sakai. So it looks like they're teaming up here, teaming up on writing, teaming up on the art. So Ryan North, well, he's doing his thing, and I ain't digging it. And I get a lot of flack for it. I just ain't digging it. All the stories are essentially the same trope. They're all stories that have been told before. The current story right now, which leads into this, is basically there's been a message from space, and after some pseudo-science explanation of the message and how it was transmitted, we find out that someone at the edge of time and space is calling them, and it's Galactus, and the message is, you know, find Sue Storm. So, Fantastic Four, they get in their special spaceship that they make overnight, and they're going to fly off to the edge of time and space to find out what ails Galactus. Now, while they're off trying to defeat whatever threat may be coming to Earth, to destroy Earth, they tell the kids, the children, their own children, the kids, right? It's up to you guys to protect the Earth while we're not here. We're going to phone up some of our mates to help you, you know, like real superheroes, but also, they open the doors to this room full of weapons that are like replicas or belong to Iron Man or a villain. They've been stockpiling all this stuff, and there's like, kids, have at it. Use any of these dangerous weapons, you know? Because children like to play with earth-destructive weapons, right? They're going to vape each other to death. Oh, my God. Anyway, I said they're going to do a new Future Foundation. And what do we have here? We have a new Future Foundation, it looks like, coming in issue 11. So anyway, what's happening in Fantastic Four now is that they've gone to the edge of space. And just like I said earlier, what do we find? We find an alternate Earth, which is a duplicate of our Earth, except on this Earth, Sue Storm is mega powerful. Like, she's beyond powerful. She's the most powerful thing that's ever been powerful in this. And she's killed the entire planet. And she's gone a bit crazy from it. She's got herself some leather costume, all right? And she's gone looking for a fight, and she found Galactus. So Sue Storm is now going to fight Sue Storm. Who will win? The Invisible Woman or the Invincible Woman, as she's named herself. So that's what's happening. So meanwhile, back on the farm, all the Baxter building, the kids are up to whatever they're up to, and this is what this is leading to. Let's find out what it says. And how can the Fantastic Four be ready for it? Especially when they can't actually agree on what the future looks like. So they're introducing a new Future Foundation. And to make matters worse, Doom's technology is now making its way into the world at large, including into the hands of 2-bit criminals who are wholly unprepared for its awesome might. So I guess this is nodding back to the Armageddon Dungeon of Doom, where Doom had a stockpile of weapons. There are various factions in there trying to get what they can. So some of this stuff is seeping out and landing in the bad guys' hands. So this is also plus the Future Foundation makes its return. Now, the Future Foundation was actually quite a big, long run a little while back. Jonathan Hickman, if I remember rightly, was pretty cool. So they're bringing it back, making it a bit different. So it makes its return, as does a 2-story AIM plot of destruction from years ago. So they're going to go back to another old story. And all this happens as the Fantastic Four have their hands full with the return of the Crimosaurus Rex. So 3 for 3. We got the dinosaur. I told you there'd be a dinosaur involved, did I not? I just noticed it staring right in front of me. 3 for 3. I should do this as a job. Anyway, moving on. Captain Marvel Dark Past, Paul Jenkins, Lucas Wernick is coming out soon. May, I think, is the first issue. Is it May? Or is it June? April? Maybe it's April. Yeah, this is for May, right? So it will be April. I've obviously not read it yet because it's not out yet. So I don't want to read the synopsis because I don't want to spoil it. However, I will be reviewing it. I'm very much looking forward to it. I do like Paul Jenkins. We've got some nice covers here, of course, to go along with it. So Amazing Spider-Man, Venom, Death Spiral. So I've mentioned Death Spiral. I've made some videos about it. Check them out. That is officially kicking off this week, this coming Wednesday, if I'm correct, with a one-shot, the Amazing Spider-Man, Venom, Death Spiral, which will lead through, I think, 8 issues of Amazing Spider-Man and Venom mixed together, because Mary Jane's Venom, and that makes sense to Al Ewing. But we're not going to find out who the new villain is. They're going to fight the new villain. There's going to be, there's going to be adventure. There's going to be reviews. There's probably going to be a rage video. I tell you that for nothing. But at the end of it, we're not going to know really who Torment is until now, because at the end of it, after you've read those 10 books, we've got an 11th book to pick up, which is this one shot, which explains good old Torment's origin. Hence, it's called Death Spiral Body Count number 1. Now, it is written by Charles Soule, who I absolutely respect, and it is also drawn by Kev Walker, who I really enjoy his work. So that's a pretty good start. We've got a cool cover here. This cover is actually separated into 9 separate variant covers as well, if you want to collect all of those, because there's a bazillion variants for it. We've got a cool cover here. We've got Torment's swirly head and that weird blood red fleshy thing that's happening in, I don't know where it is, where his highs. We've got the 3 main players there. So the origin of Torment, the scariest new villain in the Marvel Universe, finally gets his story told. Couldn't tell it in the previous 10 issues. He's hunted Peter Parker, Mary Jane Watson, and Eddie Brock, killing his way to their throats. ChatGTP needs to be updated, guys. Or just use Grok, and wrapping his razor whip around them. What forged the deadliest serial killer since Cletus Cassidy? Find out in this one shot that will define Torment's past and his future. Of course I'm going to review it. Of course I am. Now, Spider-Man continues his absolute rampage towards 1,000 issues. If they could knock out an issue a week, they would. But as it stands, we're getting 2 issues this month, issue 28, 29. Joe Kelly, of course. This time we've got some different artists. We've got Corey Smith and Pete Woods. So Spidey is back on Earth, as you already know. The last issue, just skip all of it and just read the last 3 pages and you'll enjoy it. So Joe Kelly is continuing with this run. God knows where it's going. Let's find out what issue 28 takes us. Spider-Man's buried in unfinished business after his battle with Torment, Venom, and Carnage, and his long absence from Earth. Get his life back together? Later. Damage control at work? Not now. Time-traveling magical threat to all of space and time. Go, Spidey, go. So we're getting more time-traveling. I literally just said this a minute ago about they're always time-traveling stories. They can't tell anything in the present because they don't want anything that's permanent, especially for Peter Parker. They want Peter Parker stuck right where they want him. They don't want him to go left, right, back, or forward. He is stuck in this perpetual shitstorm. It's so sad. We do have a damn cool cover. I'll give you that. Anyway, moving on to issue 29. I'm seeing mushrooms, which must mean that good old Peter Parker's old school buddy, okay, that got him a job where he's working now, all right, has finally turned it into a villain. They've been kind of hinting at it for 28 issues. And an issue or so ago, his good old buddy at work had that huge accident, the experiment gone wrong. He was angry at Peter Parker, who was actually Ben Reilly, don't forget, filling in for Peter Parker, who was kind of stepping over him for promotions. His experiments were going right. He was becoming like the cool guy at work, and he was just put in the shadows. And even after he got his old school buddy Peter Parker the job, so in an angry fit to prove himself, he started his experiments against his boss's wishes, and of course it all went wrong. And now we're going to have a new villain, no doubt thematically around some kind of spores, some kind of mushrooms, because that's what his research was. Microbacteria, I don't know, all the science stuff, right? And I guess looking like Spidey's drowning in the stuff, there's going to be a showdown. Wow. There's going to be a big showdown. What does it say? Spider-Man's best friend's life shattered by a terrible accident, and Peter Parker is to blame. Well, technically he's not, but he is. Is there a new villain on Spidey's block? Very clearly, very clearly. Okay, that brings us to issue 994, which means there's 3 more months of double issues, which will bring us to 1,000 issues. So we will get issue 1,000 this year. Moving on to Venom, the worst idea ever, I think, in recent times of Marvel, making Mary Jane Venom. Jackpot was bad enough, but now Venom, the deadliest, coolest looking, badass motherfucker ever, right? But let's just make him a Care Bear, because that's essentially what he is right now. He's soft and fluffy and just a gentle guy, okay? And he's also Mary Jane's night costume, which is ridiculous. Al Ewing, how did he get this idea? You know, was they at some Marvel summit? He's like, guys, I'm going to save everything. Symbiotes. They're like, yeah, we've got like 50 of them. Everyone's got one right now. Al, just don't bring up symbiotes. No, listen, boys. I've got a really good idea. Mary Jane plus Venom. There we go. Oh my God. Fucking let's do it, boys. And that's what we got. Like, honestly, they must have been absolutely off their rocker. They must have been drinking some booze when they decided to do this. But here we have it. Now, my hope was that Death Spiral event, which involves Mary Jane, Venom, Carnage, Dylan Brock, you know, the whole family, was going to result in Mary Jane not being Venom anymore, so that most of the fandom can hate her a little bit less. And to be honest, that's not fair. It's not that we hate Mary Jane, because I don't hate Mary Jane. I just hate what they've done with her. I think they've taken an amazing character that had so much potential, and it's made it into this. She can never go back. And Venom now has been so Disneyfied. Who's scared of Venom? No one. It's just ruined 2 brilliant characters. Now, anyway, while Pete was off in space and Ben Reilly was pretending to be Peter Parker, doing him a favor, Mary Jane decides to go knock on Pete's apartment door and reveal the big secret that she is, in actual fact, Venom. Now, Ben Reilly knows this, and Ben Reilly left a little note for Peter. So when he got back, he knew that what had Ben Reilly been up to. But he said, there's a few surprises I haven't told you yet. This is one of them. So I'm assuming in Death Spiral, or maybe even this issue, she comes clean and says, hey, I'm Venom. And of course, they're going to be really angry at each other. They're going to have a fight on the rooftop or something. Then they're going to kiss and make up. She's going to piss off wherever she's going. She gets a new costume too. She kind of splits away from Venom in the cover that I've seen, getting a more slinkier, you know, true independent, authentic self costume, I would call it. So she's going to continue being Venom. So they're not killing the idea. I don't know how Al Ewing gets work, because all of it is terrible. I'm sorry. You can say what you want in the comments, but he's just not a good writer. Anyway, this is supposed to be the heart-to-heart issue where they have a little chat. Maybe they make up for the battling during Death Spiral, where she revealed her secret, or maybe this is where she reveals her secret, but it's going to be what it is. Moving on, all new, all spectacular, the Web Slinger, Wall Crawler, and the Man of Steel. So yes, this is going to be cool. So about 5 decades ago, Marvel and DC did the team up. Maybe it was even the first Marvel DC team up. I can't really remember. I have made a video about it, I should remember. And it was Spider-Man and Superman, and they are bringing it back, as the 2 companies right now are doing a lot of these crossover books. We had Deadpool, Wolverine. We had Deadpool, Batman, Deadpool, and now we've got Spider-Man, Superman from Marvel, and I guess DC will put out Superman, Spider-Man. A lot of these writers are actually DC writers doing the Marvel book. That says something, right? It really does. Of course, there's 3 million variants, so knock yourself out. I think the regular book itself is $8. It's 72 pages. They are also doing a treasury edition of the original book. I think that might have even come out already. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. It was really big, really nice, very expensive. But anyway, what's it all about? Flip, flip, and away. So we've got 50 years ago, DC's Man of Steel met Marvel's friendly neighbor Wallcrawler, and the world of comics has never been the same. In celebration of that historic milestone, thrill to all new tales of Spider-Man and Superman and their friends and foes. So if you've picked up those Deadpool, Batman, Deadpool books and everything else, you'll know that basically there's one kind of main story and a lot of backup stories by various creators doing their little thing, little silhouettes as I like to call them. So this is essentially what this is going to be. So you know what you're going to get. The quality will sort of vary, but there's a pretty good creative team here, minus one or two. So Brad Meltzer and Pepe Larraz, who does beautiful art on Amazing Spider-Man, they need to put him back on the book if they ever take him off. I think they've taken him off. They have taken him off. Get him back on the book. He's so good. So Brad Meltzer and Pepe Larraz pit Spider-Man and Superman against Lex Luthor and Norman Osborn. That makes sense. I wasn't being sarcastic there. It makes sense as their greatest villains exploit some of their greatest weaknesses. Ooh. In the shadow-laden 1930s, Spider-Man Noir encounters the original Golden Age Superman, as told by Dan Slott and Marcos Martin. A crisis ensues as Johns and Frank bring the Super and Spider families against each other. At the summons of Mysterio, but is their true foe and ally out of control? Well, I don't know. Symbiote hordes invade Metropolis as a new War of the Realms ignites in Aaron and Dorterman's epic. Co-creator of Steel, Louise Simonson, hammers out the tale of John Henry Irons' clash with the Hobgoblin. That should be interesting too, as drawn by Todd Newick. We've got more. Kelly and Ramos take us on a campus crossover between Gwen Stacy and Lana Lang. Coffee date. Mars Morales teams with Superman as Bendis and Sarah Pacelli re-team. That should be good. It's good to see Bendis and Pacelli back together. They're a cracking team. Looking forward to that story. And we've got a remarkable, it says, team up between Ghost Spider and Supergirl. Stephanie Phillips, I guess. Or Stephanie Hans, it says here. Very interesting. I thought Stephanie Phillips was involved with this. Stephanie Hans and Phil Noto. So this is the main cover, or one of the main covers. I think there's two main covers and a bazillion variants, as you can see here. So there is a Stephanie Phillips story with Phil Noto. Okay, we're getting an all-new, all-spectacular story starring Ghost Spider and Supergirl. I wonder why they left those two out. There we have it. Peach Momoko, Marcos Martin, Greg Capullo there, Ross Dortman and Ryan Stegman, all pumping out covers. So you can pick whichever one you want. Lots of them. There's even more. Wow. Lots of covers. So we have another book from the past is getting a facsimile edition. They're going to reproduce all 4 issues, I hope. The JLA and Avengers. I remember this coming out years ago. Kurt Busiek and George Perez. I don't remember it. I do remember one of the editions had this incredible I think it was George Perez cover where he drew just hundreds of these characters. You know, it looks incredible. So they're doing the facsimiles of those. Marvel are going to split the publishing. They're going to do 1 and 3. DC are going to do 2 and 4, which makes sense too. So that sounds cool. X-Men of Apocalypse. So this X-Men of Apocalypse sort of came and vanished, actually. There was an issue or two. I didn't find it very good. Basically, the X-Men from the Apocalypse era, they decided their world's in a mess, as you know. And they thought the best way to solve it is get over to our world, our 616, present time, and have a fight with the current Avengers, or rather X-Men. Sorry, I got Avengers on the mind, because that Avengers Armageddon honestly sounds great. So I guess this is the continuation from Jeff Loeb and Simone DeMeo. The art was very, very nice. Secrets revealed. I'm sure there are. Betrayals, deaths, and a shock ending that a lot of X-Men fans talking for years. But this has gone by and by the way, much like his Hush 2. It's just kind of started and evaporated. There's a few books he's been involved in that have started and just evaporated. So I've forgotten all about this. Absolutely forgotten all about this. Well, there it is. If you were following it, you're going to get your ending. Now, Jed MacKay continues his X-Men run. Okay, we've had the first sort of proper issue post. Well, it's pre-Age of Revelation, but it's post-Age of Revelation, if you get my drift. Okay, so the X-Men, they are trying to hunt down Doug Ramsey, a.k.a. Revelation, a.k.a. the heir of Apocalypse, so they can prevent the future from ever happening. And I guess these books are rolling into that story. So we're not going to read the synopsis. We don't want to give anything away. The last issue was a kind of detour from that for, well, watch the video. Let's watch the video. But they have started the hunt for Doug Ramsey, and this continues with a double ship. Cyclops kicked off this month too. Alex Packnadell and Roger Antonio. Full of promise, actually. I think it might actually be a really good book. He's gone back to the past as well. Okay, and this is supposed to sort of redefine Cyclops a little bit, make him more than that sort of single-minded, stoic leader that we always see, and delve into his past to see what made him the man he is, and maybe revisiting that past might change him a little bit. But it has started off okay, not mind-bendingly great, just okay. You know, he's written Cyclops pretty well, and there's an interesting concept running through it. So I'm going to pick up the next issue, see how it goes. One book that hasn't started yet is the X-Men United by Eve L. Ewing. Now, if I remember rightly, she also did her own X book a little while back. Wasn't astonishing, or was it exceptional? I forget whatever book name they give it. It has X-Men at the end of it, and the art was absolutely stunning, but the story was absolutely difficult to get through. I really forced myself to even get through the first arc. So I'm not sure why we have Eve L. Ewing on this, because this is being touted as one of the big two X-Men books going forward alongside Uncanny X-Men. But I will, as I normally do, give it a fair crack at the whip. Okay, and I'll go into it, you know, without any bias, and review it for you all. So there we go. Most of this, if not all of this, so far is on my pull list. It's a big month for Marvel. I hope these videos get watched. Now, one book that definitely isn't on my pull list, I gave him a second and third chance, is Maria Ayudeli with his Storm, Earth's Mightiest Mutant. The first issue was an absolute fever dream mess. It jumped back, forward, upside down. You had a man who was trying to have sex with his girlfriend, and she stopped it because the TV was on the blink, and she needed the TV to stop being on the blink. So he went to the toilet, got himself some lubrication, opened up his phone to his favorite video, and you can guess the rest. That was part of the story. That was part of the story. I don't need to tell you anything else, right? Anyway, it was an absolute mess. So that book is dead to me. Moonstar's going to kick off. Ashley Allen, Eduardo Ordino. Now, again, I haven't read the first one because it's not out yet, but it's definitely on my list. I'm very, very interested to find out what Danielle Moonstar, I always get the damn names right, Danny Moonstar is getting up to. So picking that up. Now, Magic Colossus has come out, first issue. It was middle of the road. It's set up wherever it's going. Not much more to it, but I'm going to give it another go because I love Magic. Magic's really cool. It's also written by Ashley Allen with art by German Peralta. Okay, Psylocke Ninja, Tim Seeley. This was a real disappointment, all I can say. The first issue is kind of, I think it's rewriting some of Psylocke's history. I think fans are really divided by it. I mean, she has a very strong following, you know, but I mostly saw people not happy with it. And I was like, what is this? What is this? Why is it here? It's a shame. Same with Rogue, Erica Schultz. I'm sorry. Fuck me. I don't need to say anything else. Rogue is not on my pull list after the first issue, or maybe I'll just sneak it in just because I should give it a second go. But every book I pick up by Erica Schultz, I just don't enjoy it. I don't know if she's writing it for, I don't know who she's writing it for. You know, her X-23, one of my favorite characters, brought me to near tears, not because it was an emotional story, because it's so fucking bad. Anyway, the direct polar opposite, diametrically opposed book to Rogue is Wade Wilson Deadpool, which for me was a Marvel book of the week when it came out. It was absolutely Deadpool. I love it. It's brilliant. I have nothing bad to say about it. Benjamin Percy is absolutely knocking it out of the park. Jeff Shaw art fits it perfectly. This is brilliant, right? This is brilliant. If any run can try and match to Dugan's run and Possum's run, okay, from way back when, it's this one. It's this one. It was so, so good. I know it's one issue, but it filled me with so much hope. Hope that I've not had for a Marvel book for so damn long. Sorry, I've got a cold. I keep sniffing. But this was so cool. Definitely on the pull list, guys. Pick it up. Inglorious X-Force, not a Team City book, which is, again, had an interesting idea, but it didn't have the wham, didn't have the bam, and it definitely had no thank you, ma'am. Was just okay. You know, Cable's gone back to solve some kind of time mystery, okay, some time problem. He's collected some of the old crew to go off and fight on an adventure again. And it it is what it was. Now, Jodie Howard is the same. Okay, Generation X was okay. There's a very cool concept in there about a time mutant power. Okay, which I'm not going to spoil. You should read it, but it just followed the same old tropes. I mean, you know exactly what it's about because of the synopsis told you. She's discovered some more X-designated weapon-esque style teenage mutants that she's going to look after. I guess she's going to be their mentor. Again, another current trope. A lot of this X stuff, or especially Wolverine, or any character connects Wolverine, it's always going back to Weapon X. Okay, now we've got 3 books from Marvel that involve a group of young X-Men that are being mentored, you know, a group of young Spiders that are being mentored. And now we've got a bunch of young Weapon X's being mentored. It's like the main characters aren't allowed to be main characters anymore. They have to be teachers now because they can't do anymore. So they have to teach. But I'll give it a go. We're going to give it another 2 issues. Another 2 issues, right? Bring back Tom Taylor is all I can say. Tom Taylor. That run was legendary. Nothing's come near to it. Okay, I think Mariko Tamaki's run was quite cool. I think it was Mariko Tamaki. But Tom Taylor, you know, nothing beats it for me. Wolverine continues. Trying to be careful how I word this. Wolverine continues to be written by Saladin Ahmed, which means Wolverine continues to be of the quality that it's been for the 19 issues that have preceded this, which is low. So this dropped off my pull list on the last issue right now, okay? And I'm going to put it back on the list when we get to the next arc, okay? But so far, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. I can't recommend Wolverine. Again, another character being ruined by the same bunch of writers. Marvel just said, right, we've got these writers. You're going to write that. You're going to write that. Then we're going to switch you around. And they just switch the same writers. No new bloods. Nothing fresh. What is going on? I mean, Gail Simone's Uncanny X-Men, although I don't see it as an X-Men book, I've said it time and time again, it's more of Runaways with X-Men, okay? At least she is trying something different. It's in the wrong book, but at least she's trying something different, you know, with a young bunch of mutants that are being mentored by Wolverine, Rogue, and Gambit. But still, she is trying something different. Like it or not, you know, you can't deny that fact. And she's had some interesting arcs in her run so far. So it's not bad. I'm not knocking it. But what do we have here? Issue 28. Our wildest Uncanny story yet continues. A mysterious turn of events brings the New Mutants to the Uncanny X-Men. And the Outliers, which are these young group of mutants that they're mentoring, are nowhere to be found. Oh. All this plus the secret of Grey Malcolm prison. Inmate X is revealed at last. Who is this incredibly lethal mutant powerhouse? And what does it mean for mutant kind? We'll find out. Okay, moving on to more mutants and X-Men and everything else. Wiccan and Hulkling. So that book's it's a one-shot, actually. They've got their own mini-series rocking and rolling right now. I read the first issue. It's actually really well written with an interesting premise and story. I didn't go into issue number 2 because it's clearly not written for me. Okay, but it was really well done. So I guess based off the success of Wyatt Kennedy's writing on that, they've got a little one-shot here to celebrate Marvel voices. So Wyatt Kennedy, Zoe Tunnell, and more. Luciano Vecchio and more. So I guess there's going to be main stories, some backup stories. Wiccan and Hulkling reunite with family and danger. Oh, Wiccan and Hulkling gather their known and beloved friends and family to celebrate their wedding anniversary. But everything goes awry when Ultron arrives to reclaim Vision and Viv. Join a group of exciting Marvel talent and rising stars for this year's Marvel Voices Pride, centering on Marvel's fan-favorite gay couple and their amazing friends to help defeat the evil and recenter community in times of darkness. There we go. So if that's your thing, jump on board. Scarlet Witch is thrown in there for good measure, and Quicksilver by the looks of it. So Alias, Jessica Jones. So this hasn't come out yet. Issue number 1, and I'm very much looking forward to Sam Humphries, Geraldo Borges. We've got a new story celebrating 25 years of Jessica Jones. Now, Jessica Jones, way back when, was one of those characters I'd never had any interest in until Bendis did his seminal run on the character, the Purple Man. Oh my God, it was incredible, and she instantly became one of my favorite characters. So as soon as this comes out, we are reviewing it, and I'm pretty sure, because it's a Red Band book too, and it's going to be very, very brutal. Fingers crossed. Much like Daredevil. Now, Stephanie Phillips, as you know, I'm not a fan. I think this is going to be a 50-50 for me. So the 50% I know right now is that Lee Garber's art on this book is incredibly good, and the covers are amazing. Okay, and I know I say it every time, but I have to say it till it comes out, right? Or else I've nothing to say on these videos. But Stephanie Phillips, I'm just not sure. But I'm going to go into it, as I always do. I've said it once before in the video, unbiased. I'm going to give her the chance to prove me wrong. I don't want to be proved wrong because we need a good Daredevil book. We know who wrote the last Daredevil run, and we know how bad that went. So this could be the change for good. All right, I'm going to be optimistic about it because I want it to be good. But we can't read the solicit because issue number 1 hasn't come out. I think the issue number 1 might even be coming out in the next week or 2. So stand by for that review. I've got a lot of hope for it. So Wonder Man is back. Wonder Man. So maybe one of those ultimate characters is actually Wonder Man. Otherwise, why would they have a Wonder Man book? So Jerry Dugan, who I trust. So this should be fun. I've never been a sort of follower of Wonder Man, but I am now because Jerry Dugan is writing it. We're going to pick that up. Patsy Walker, the ever-elegant Hellcat, makes an appearance too, so I'm all for it. Farid Karimi is doing the artwork, but again, we can't read the solicit because it will spoil the debut when it comes out. Now, Joshua Williamson has decided he wants to pop over to Marvel and write some Iron Man, and that's exactly what he did. The first issue came out. Watch my video to find out what I think about it. I was kind of 50-50 with this too. You'll see why if you're a long-term Iron Man fan. So Madam Mask is thrown in there. AIM has been thrown in there. We can't be reading this solicit. It will spoil what's been going on, like I said. But it's still on the pull list because I love Iron Man. It's my longest running characters. One of the very, very first comic books I ever read. Moving on to the Sentry by Paul Jenkins and Christian Rosado. Again, we're in this sort of flux of books ending or being halfway through. So some of these solicits we just can't read. Again, we can't read the Sentry one because number 1 hasn't come out yet. And again, I'm sure that's out in the next week or 2. But I am fingers crossing it. It looks really, really good. And of course, it's Paul Jenkins. Paul Jenkins plus Sentry. Bound to be a winner, right? So Noel continues, or rather just meanders through 2 issues of... I don't even know what to call it. I've done my review. There's an idea there, but it just doesn't seem to be forming. There's a lot of Null just talking to himself, telling himself how great he is, some self-aggrandizing. It's Al Ewing, absolutely Al Ewing to a T, but he's got some help on this one. Tom Waltz with art by Joanan Ramirez. So Null is leading into Queen of Black. So again, if you want to know what's going on there, you're probably going to be reading this. It's staying on the pull list until it isn't, all right? But I'm going to read it off video anyway, so I know what's going on with the Queen of Black. Not impressed at all, but it does look like he has transformed himself into a warrior of the light, but not with the light spear. He seems to have turned his sword into a sword of light too. So interesting. Imperial Guardians hasn't started yet. Punisher number 1. We can't review any of these synopsises because it will spoil what's going on. So the Imperial Guardians, I'm going to pick up and give it a go. I sort of stepped deeper into the cosmic Marvel side of things. And I'm liking some of what I read. The Nova Guardian is so much fun. If you're not picking that book up, the first arc is just finished. I think the first arc has just started, and it's absolute cracker. One of the funnest books of the month, and the art is so good. So Punisher, Benjamin Percy, you've got my vote, my man. I don't even have to read it. I just know I'm going to read it, all right? Benjamin Percy, Jose Luis Suarez are the creative team, Battered, Bruised, and Bloody. So Frank Castle is on the run from Tombstone, oh dear, from Jigsaw, and from Ghosts of the Past. That's all I'm going to read because I don't want to spoil the first issues. Amazing. That's on the pull list for sure. Now, speaking of pull list, Doctor Strange has just fallen off. Derek Landy could not do enough to keep me there. Could not do anything to keep me there. I gave it 3 issues. But it's goodbye, Doctor Strange. I'm afraid. Sorry, it's not a Doctor Strange book. Honestly, even real fans of Doctor Strange. I've pulled the real fans. People who enjoy reading books that involve Doctor Strange. If they're honest with themselves, they've got to say that this is meh. You know what I mean? It's just meh. That's what it is. Now, Side Dimensional Rivals. Someone one of you viewers recommended I pick it up, so I'm going to try and binge that book this week and maybe get the next couple of issues before it ends at issue 5 on the pull list. So Sorcerer Supreme, I have a 3-issue rule, I think, at the moment, right, which I try to stick to. Sorcerer Supreme is on strike 2, so if issue 3 doesn't shake up, right, doesn't shape up and turn into a decent read, it's dropping off the list. Steve Orlando's written, I don't know, 72 different Wonder Maximoff, Source Supreme, Scarlet Witch books. They've just all continued from one to the other with a different title to just boost the number 1 sales and variants and blind bags, right? So this version of Wanda, she is the Sorcerer Supreme instead of good old Doctor Strange. And it's okay, but it's not going anywhere. And it's just the same old shit we've had from all the other Steve Orlando books that involve Wanda Maximoff. Just need something different. The coolest thing about it is her costume is incredible. It looks so cool. And Bernard Chang does a great job of the art. That's it for me. One more issue, and we won't even reach issue 6. That's all I can say. Another book that's not on my pull list is the all-new Spider-Gwen, the Ghost Spider with Stephanie Phillips, because it's just barely readable. Or actually, no, it's unreadable. Okay, that's why I'm not reading it. And The Deadly Hands of Kun Lun has just come out, and it wasn't on my pull list, but I'm going to whack the first issue on there, and hopefully it's going to be a good story. And I'll be here to pick up issue 4 alongside issue 5. So Black Cat. G. Willow Wilson, Gleb Melkinoff. Just not my book. I love Black Cat. This is supposed to be ha-ha buddy comedy. It's just not working for me. The humor falls flat. The stories are ridiculous. It's another character that's just been Disneyfied, made into a caricature of themselves. So I dropped the book at issue 3 or 4. But her and Mary Jane, Venom, as you can see, they're best bros now. They're hanging out, they're doing stuff, and no doubt they're up to some kind of adventure in this issue, which I will not be picking up, which is a shame because I love Black Cat. I love Black Cat. Astonishing Miles Morales Spider-Man. Don't worry, Cody Ziegler hasn't returned. Has not returned to Miles Morales. His run on that book is closed and done. This is reprinting the issues 1 to 6 of the Miles Morales Infinity comic. They're wrapping it all up into a one-shot 40-page for $6. So you get that comic in print if you don't have it already. So The Infernal Hulk, probably one of the best Marvel books, has out right now and has had out for many years. Incredible, pun intended. Incredible Hulk, 30-odd issues, sheer bliss, which evolved into The Infernal Hulk. Incredible again. Infernal. I'm using both those words over again because I just can't think of any other words to describe it. It's just brilliant. Okay, I got a third word for it. We got magic in this one. Nick Klein, with the hand of God guiding him, is doing the most beautiful artwork. And Philip Kelly Johnson is just channeling the greatest Hulk story we've had in a long time. Hands down, one of the best books. Now, you might have heard it's ending at issue number 10. Don't worry. It has not been bitten by the 10-issue curse at Marvel. It's all part of the master plan. Much like what Al Ewing is attempting to do over in Thor, it's a 3-act story. We've had Incredible Hulk, which will move into Infernal Hulk, or has done. We're 3 issues in, I think. And then we're going to move into whatever happens next after this part has been told, because he's not going to remain the Infernal Hulk forever, is he? Of course not. He's going to go back to his good old self and maybe get Bruce Banner back in control of the Hulk's body. All right, I don't want to give too much away. So there we go. Don't worry, Infernal Hulk isn't being cancelled. It's just being retitled to tell the 3rd arc of their ongoing story with the Hulk, which I love. Honestly, I look forward to that book pretty much more than most books every month. Now, Mark Spector, Moon Knight, much like Steve Orlando, has had about 78 different Moon Knight series that lead into one another, get rebranded, relaunched. And Jed McKay's doing a pretty good job from what I hear. People will love the book. I haven't got into it. I keep trying to get into it, but my read pile keeps growing and growing and growing. It never seems to go down. You know what I mean, right? So I just haven't quite got there yet. Now, The Mortal Thor by Al Ewing, as you guessed, fell off my list. I gave it 3 or 4 issues. Unreadable to my tastes. If you like it, then great. Okay, if you're spending your $5 each month and you're enjoying it, then don't listen to me. I'm full of shit. But for me, nope, can't do it. I'm not going to do it. We get the facsimile editions that we get every month. We've got some Stan Lee, Steve Buscema, and Gene Colan. Here's the Silver Surfer. And the first Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man. Very cool. Jerry Conway, Sal Buscema. They're reprinting some of those nice books. They're nice to have if you can't track down the original issues and you want them sort of pristine. So Godzilla Infinity Roar by Jerry Duggan. Well, I didn't put this book up because it's just not my cup of tea. No negative thoughts about it. It just wasn't something that I thought I'd like. Now, Alien King Killer, again, that's going to come out in a month or so. It's a Saladin Ahmed book. We will give it an issue and we'll try and get to issue 2. We'll try. But he may not be able to write Wolverine. He may not be able to write Daredevil, but he might be able to write a decent Alien story. We shall see. We shall see. But we won't read the solicit because we don't want to spoil it. Now, Predator Bloodshed, I think, comes out next week. So that's Jordan Morris and Rory Coleman and Roland Boshi, and I'm going to give it a go. Let's read this list here. I don't think it'll ruin it. It says, a tournament of the world's fiercest fighters has been decimated after a predator's lethal hunt. As Predator zeroes in on the few survivors left standing, one warrior's true purpose is finally unmasked. With deadly danger from within and without, it's kill or be killed. Will the Predator collect its final trophy? I don't know. We will find out because we're going to give it a go. So Planet of the Apes versus Fantastic Four, Josh Trudeau and Andrea DeVito. I read the first issue off camera, as I like to call it. I didn't do a review on it. It was what you would expect it to be. It's a throwback to both of these properties, and it was okay. It was okay. I'm not going to continue with it because, again, it's just not my taste. I've got nothing negative to say about it, but it's not on the pull list. I've got enough books on the pull list this coming month. So Star Wars, I don't read the Marvel Star Wars books, but we'll gloss over them very quickly. We've got some Rogue One stuff, some Cassian Andor. We've got Shadows of Maul, Galaxy's Edge. And then we got a Stormbreakers advert. Okay, moving on to some graphic novels, omnibuses, and all the like. So what do we got? We got Blood Hunt omnibus. I guess they're collecting all of Blood Hunt. Another event which will be, I don't know, forgotten. Much like One World Under Doom. So Chip Zdarsky's omnibus comes out with Spidey. Okay, that's cool. I love omnibuses, and I love just beautiful hardcover editions. So X-Men Legacy Legion gets a new printing. So if you missed out on those 24 issues or the original omnibus trades, hardcovers, whatever they did, now's your chance. We got another Way of X book popping out. The 4th Daredevil omnibus, which goes up to Daredevil 158, the 1967 annual Ghost Rider tie-in, Marvel Premiere tie-ins, and a few what ifs. So that sounds cool. I love these omnibuses. If one day I ever actually make any money out of out of YouTube, because I'm doing it for the love at the moment, right? And I do love it. I like talking about comics. I'm going to buy all the omnibuses you could possibly get my hands on. I just love these omnibuses. They're so good. Archival, you get big blocks of story of your favorite characters. I mean, trying to buy the original issues of those, because I was a completionist. I was first print, original issue only type of guy up until a few years ago. But now I'm cool with just owning the stories that I love. So that would be on the list. I need to get the first 3, to be honest, and a few spin-offs. So Captain America's first trade comes out. Go buy it, boys. Go buy this book. It is really, really good. It sets everything up. It's a good arc. A very good arc, and it really gets you in the mood for the next arc and the big, huge event which we discussed is coming out with the Avengers. It's very well written. It's very well drawn. I don't really have much negative to say about it, but I just want you to read it. As you know, it's a reimagining of Steve Rogers' past. He's a post 9/11 Captain America now, and there was a fill-in Captain America while he was away, good old Dave Colton, and that's what they sort of set in stone in here, so you know what's going on. The landscape is very clear going forward, so pick it up if you haven't already. I thoroughly recommend it. Hulk Smash Everything, Ryan North trade gets collected. We get Superior Foes Spider-Man. Nick Spencer's was part of that, no doubt. I'm picking that up. And we've got some Garth Ennis being reprinted here. Confederacy of Dunces, his classic 33 to 37 book. Yeah, I've got pretty much, I think I've got all of Garth Ennis's Punisher. I love it. Spider-Man the Other. This is a strange one to bring out here, but I'm assuming that was round about the time, wasn't it? I don't know. Was it round about the time of Brand New Day, One New Day, and everything else? I did have a comic book store at the time, and this is where I found people really, really getting fed up with Spidey books, because they just weren't very good. And I don't remember the Other being very good there. And I know it's Peter David and legendary Hulk run, but no. I don't know why they bring it back. Maybe it ties in. Who knows? Miles Morales getting a trade. Spider-Man Torn is collected now. That for me was mediocre. J. Michael Straczynski, Perry Perez. Some people liked it. It did capture some of the elements of good old Spy from the olden days, but the story just sucked balls. Let's not hold back here, Angelo. We're at the end of the video. Most people have turned off by now, so I can say it. It sucks balls. It really, really did. Wolverine gets his 3rd volume. Mossad and Ahmed, Ultimate X-Men gets their 4th volume, the final volume, because that's now over. Spirits of Violence. And we get some nice collected editions here, these epic collections, like I say, every single time I make this video, are great value for money. They really, really are. You get a whole bunch of issues at a reasonably good price. You can sit there and binge it on a weekend with a nice cup of tea and a packet of biscuits. Deadpool, also Fantastic Four, new X-Men, another Mutant Massacre, which is a very, very cool story, actually. It ties into one of my favorite X-Force runs, actually, way back when. Now, as the movie's coming out or will be out, I'm not sure. This is an advanced solicit. This is actually coming out in August, I guess, to coincide with the movie. We get a movie art book for a brand new day, the new Spidey book. And we get another Spidey trade here, which I just couldn't get into. Steve Fox, brand new school day, which I think tied in with the animation, right? Yes, that's right. I think it did. It did. One's for me. And we're at the end. That's it. Well, my pull list is huge in May. Crikey, I think I'm getting pretty much everything but 4 books. It's going to be a big one. I better get back to the day job and earn some money to pay for it. But there we have it. It's an interesting mix. We're in the middle of a few things. We're getting very close to some big things coming, lots and lots of events, as you already know. But there we go. Those are my pulls. Those are the new books. Those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think. You know, always happy to hear what you think. Let me know what I'm missing out on. Let me know what you think of my pull list. And we will chat in the comments if you have time. I do try to answer all of them. If they're short, it's because I don't have a lot to say. I'm so tired after making the videos. But there we have it. Let's get back to the cover. Queen in Black. Like the video, hit subscribe. Hopefully, we will catch you in the next one. Take care now.